Are you? Hello, my friends. Lisa Bowles here. It is otherwise known as the Soul Mapper. I should probably state that because, yeah, anybody new here might not know that. It is 1 o'clock Eastern on the dot on Thursday, April 24th, 2025. We're looking at May, okay? It is live for May. And I'm going to ask, we need to, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Erica. If you could make it so that anybody entering is automatically muted, so we have a nice quiet space, that'd be great. Thank you very much. May is a, yeah, it's a league unto its own, my friends. I almost didn't know where to start and had kind of a thank you because I'm just, honestly going by date as I normally do. But the magnitude and the interactivity and the order of magnitude that brings about, that is a deal. So you might want to get your pen or your pencil handy. If you are a current member and you haven't already grabbed your copy of this month's workbook, you might want to take a second and go grab that now, okay? Yeah. Hello, so many of you. So hi to Adele, Alex, Claire, Kalita. Hi, Kalita. Marilyn Kale. Oh, it's so good to see your name there, my friend. Mariah, Nancy, Peggy, Shayona, Sylvia. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you all here. Karen, you're joining, but something's gotten hung up. So I hope things work out for you. All right. Let's dive in. All right. Live for May 2025. So first, I want to remind you, and I know I do this, and you might just go, yeah. Seriously. This year, next year, the next, like you really want to kind of tune back in to the big backbeats because they matter. And today we're going to talk about some of the reasons why, because this, I don't know if you can see, no, you probably can't see my cursor, but our Dream Keeper and our Inner Guru, yeah, plus Pluto and Notawa, just saying, okay? Next slide, please. And if you don't have time to tune in right now, I get it. Please do come back. Look at the notes at the very least. Here are the short-term influences still in play. We either covered them in March or in April. Now, if you wanted to work real quick, take a screenshot of this and keep it on hand. Okay. And touch back in, just, so that you have it in your energy, for lack of a more material word, because it could matter too. Okay. Next slide, please. Especially March 27th till December 20th. If you know, you know. Now we're going to touch in on a couple of the moves at the end of April, because we have the luxury, because there's a few days left, and because those particular moves matter. So helpful to kind of refresh again, and then we'll dive into May's most noteworthy moves. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. So here's the first of, we covered this last month, but it makes sense to talk about them again. So this is right around the corner, folks. We are 3 days away from this. And those of us who are, quote unquote, sensitive to energy, etc., you will likely already be feeling this. Now we're going to dive a little deeper. So one of the features of the conversations and the materials provided in the current is we always look at the much deeper story of what's going on. And I'm going to give you a bit of a taste of that today, looking at this, because this new supermoon in Taurus, it's kind of a deal. In part because it's working in conjunction, and I'm not using that astrologically conjunction. So for those of you who are astrologically term savvy, that is not what I'm talking about. We've got Black Moon Lilith, which is what we just talked about. That there's shorter term influence is still in play. The one I talked about at the end of March till December, Black Moon Lilith, it moved into Scorpio. It's active, will be for some months. And those vibes are working with this vibe. Okay, and that really matters. Okay, particularly if you are a resident of the United States of America and you heard the recent news about the word female being extinguished when it comes to any and all quote unquote governmental terms. Okay, and I'll dive more deeply into how that might fold in, because Black Moon Lilith and power, holy moly. So coming up real fast, new supermoon in Taurus. It is at this level, which matters. It is a practical magic day when it will be easier than usual. And I don't know about you, but easier is helpful. To regroup and ground, to reduce uncertainty. And I don't mean mental uncertainty. I mean to vibe with a kind of knowing that helps you experience I'm good, even though this is not, okay? So it's experienced certainty. Streamline systems and processes. Oh my goodness. Okay? Embrace eco-friendly and upcycled choices, which for some here, that's their vibe. So I'm looking at you. Strike a balance between the sensual, and I don't mean sex, I mean the experience of sensual pleasure, the sensual nature, the material, physical nature of being human, being physical, and the sensible. You kind of rock out in your own sensual nature, and there's one of two of you in particular I'm looking at, you know who you are. That is an access way to sensibility that will affect the notion of practical magic, okay? Ooh. And then break down complex plans into basic, straightforward steps. And I'm not talking a 10,000 point plan, don't even try, but the spirit of this supermoon will help tremendously with being with what's in front of you, kind of in a sensual, sensible way. Oh, in effort to boost and support the effort of mapping the next few steps. With the understanding is you take a step or two and the next steps show themselves to you, okay? Now, take care, because it may be challenging to keep a level head, not get caught up in the compare snare. And I say this, so those of you who took the Deeper Story of 2025, you know what I'm talking about here in terms of propensity and elevation. That's propensity. And most of us still have some serious connections to propensity. So please take stock of this. Do not write it off. Don't go, hey, yeah, it won't be me. Yeah, it probably will be, because all things are up right now. Now, I'm going to switch to my notes, because I want to go into the deeper story of this particular moon, okay? When the moon is working through Taurus, it's important to note that the overseer of Taurus is Venus, our charisma of course, and a really powerful feminine creation energy, okay? The principle of feminine creation, all right? We're not talking gender, and that's a big topic, but we're talking about connecting to the charismatic force that oversees, cares for, nourishes, nurtures, okay? And is deeply attractive to that which is ours. Charisma of cause. So the deeper story and why I wanted to make sure we touched in with this. Again, this is a taste of what we talk about and work with in the current. Is it ask the question without necessarily coming into the mind, because this can kind of interfere sometimes, is what if the next step, we're talking about steps, mapping things out. What if the next step isn't to do more, but to soften and root in and allow it to come to you? What? This kind of comes with a, now again, keep in mind, Black Moon Lilith, okay? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please refer to the slide and the notes, etc., from live for April, okay? This kind of gives us a really extraordinary permission slip. And again, propensity. Many of us are living, waiting for permission and don't even know it because it's deeply unconscious, okay? To stop white knuckling, gripping, trying to make things happen. To trust the wisdom of your rootedness, your softness. And to reside as best you can down in the cradle of civilization. And we're not talking about a continent. We're talking about root chakra or your hips, which is where our charisma of cause Venus lives and is connected to Black Moon Lilith, okay? So this moon is a kind of threshold, an opportunity and a nudge to pause and assess if you are, without realizing it, without consciously being aware of it, or being aware of it, inadvertently violating yourself and your make it real partnership with the divine, with your own soul, with these archetypes in the name of productivity and being valuable according to someone else's terms. Dispossession, okay? To remember that you are allowed to receive what you've called in, what you've invited in, what you have been attempting to make manifest, not someday, but this moon, in many ways, is medicine for the part or parts of you that are tired of trying so hard, often over top of your purposeful approach to life, your natural and authentic way through the world, creatively. Now, if you're a moon course practitioner, I'm speaking directly to you. We didn't call things in so we could chase them. And there's a lot of ambivalence around being chased. That's, yeah, and that's in here too. We called it in so we could receive it. And there's a lot of receptivity stuff in here, worth paying attention to. This asks us to build the life that can hold what we're calling in, to allow it in, and then can hold it. Cradle. This could be a significant turning point. Ready? Not the least of which, because, and I've gone into all the astrological deeds, but there's other stuff that's moving around and sending out, at the same time, which creates a very, very intense set of moves that offer extraordinarily powerful and strategic, I kid you not, creative tension. And I'm going to talk about two of the contributors, not all of them, because there's too many. But the creative tension is between personal desires, which is our action instinct working through Leo, and collective transformation, our transformer Pluto working in Aquarius. With the moon in Taurus, what it offers us is a release point. Now, first, that release point is going to challenge you to choose grounded, heart-led action over fear-based reaction, and to simplify rather than escalate. Alrighty? And the question I want to pose for us all is this: am I ready to hold what I've been trying to call in now? All right. See what I mean about May being in a league of its own? Okay. Now, this is most powerful the day of, wherever you are dateline wise, check that out. It starts kicking up, particularly on the 26th, dateline check, and is still very active on the 28th. But there's a window, Moon Course folks, you know what I'm talking about. And 2 weeks, the vibe's going to be very alive, and the effects of this are going to be felt out and still alive for 6 months. With everything else that's on the move, that's worth knowing. Okay? So if this is kind of singing to you, or I actually spoke to someone very recently who has deep affiliation and connection with her moon, and she started to cry when she heard me talking about this, because we were working with it, because she felt this so deeply. So if you are having any kind of response or reaction to this, please, please, please pay attention. Alrighty? And watch that your strategic mind starts, jockeying for position. The strategy is alive in the energy of this. You don't have to apply it. I mean that most sincerely. So watch. Okay. Next slide, please. We got another humdinger. Notice the little looking glass, okay? If you know, you know. April 30th to June 6th, our charisma of cause, otherwise known as Venus. Did we not just talk about Venus? Working through Aries. Now, this is the second pass through in 2025, because we did a bit of a retrograde with big autonomy in love energy, okay? And when I say love, I'm not talking intimate relationship, although that is part of it. This is bigger than that. How can we be autonomous, sovereign, in love? That's a big part of what this is about. So it brings, encourages, supports safeguarding your me time. It is going to spark the sexy again for you, not so that you can be sexy for others, but so you can inhabit your sensual nature more fully and with greater freedom and delight. So you can occupy and experience your value. Oh, wait, we talked about that. Yeah, we did. So we got some extra oomph here. Hello. Okay, deeper story, folks. Opportunities to right disruptive wrongs, provided vengeance is out of the equation. And just to be clear, if the attempt to right a disruptive wrong includes punishment, and I mean vengeful punishment, even the score punishment, diving into a stretching but enjoyable hobby and practice, and I'm going to add, to be in the body in sensual joy and pleasure, and see if you can lean into that in your work or in your business. Oh my goodness. And then reclaim your sovereignty in codependent relationships. And I'm just going to say for the record that the notion of codependency is far, 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 far more subtle than most of us understand. Okay, go check out, do a Google on Michelle Obama talking about not going to the inauguration and what kind of work she had to do, and boom. Yes. Okay, I mean that most seriously. Please do yourself a favor and go do a Google. There's a whole version. She was talking on a podcast, and there's shorts. Let your heart call you to which one you need to watch. Okay. Next slide, please. Here we go. May. We haven't even gotten to May. May 4th till October the 13th. Again, see the looking glass. Our transformer Pluto goes retrograde in Aquarius for the first time since it moved into Aquarius late last year. Okay? And it provides us the opportunity to review and transform how you and we power struggle or creative block. Hello? Really? Now think about that with other stuff we're just talking about. This is a big deal. So in the email invite or reminder, I said big, league of its own. This is part of why too. You can expect all kinds of hidden blessings beckoning you and us into greater empowerment. Things like collaboration efforts stagnating or derailing, inability to gain business or work traction, personal stuckness. Now, you'd be like, what? Hidden blessings. And I mean that most sincerely. Because what this affords us the opportunity to do is when collaboration efforts start to go, so what is going on? Where are we, am I, attempting to insist people go along, get along? Where are we, am I expecting or insisting people do things my way? You see what I'm talking about? Power struggle. Where are we in power struggle? And it is so much the waters we live in that can't see it. And so, boom. Inability to gain traction in your work or in your business. This is a call to look more deeply into how we are out of right relationship with power. And that is a real big deal right now. Everyone. Personal stuckness. Where am I out of right relate? Do I even know what that is? Boy, have I been doing the work on this one. This could utterly change your understanding and your living of power for the rest of your life. It could utterly change how you occupy your work and your business. It could, so when I say hidden blessings, I'm not trying to be a smart ass. Because for many of us, this is not going to feel like a blessing, but it is. Because it's working to show us early in the game, because we got 19 years of this, where we are out with this. If we intend to be agents of transformation and architects of the shift as it's taking place, still early days, but still, we want to lean into this. This is so intelligent, so beautiful, and it will be a pain in the backside. Meet it with welcome to the very best of your ability. Help those around you meet it with welcome. The more consciousness or willingness to be more conscious we can bring to this and the practices around it, especially when you're talking to other people, working with other people. Doing this in isolation ain't going to get you as nearly as far as it once would have, because this is Aquarius. This matters, 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 matters. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Next slide, please. May 10th till the 25th, our communication savant, Mercury, working in Taurus. We got more Taurus energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Venus, our charisma of cause, kind of overseeing everything. So Venus, Mercury. Tactical material thinking planning is the highly supported order of the day. But it is tactical material thinking planning and even strategy that comes from inspiration and your purpose in the world, your way of being here, not the way that has been drilled into you to such a degree that you're not even conscious that that imposition is still as rooted as it is. This is also an extraordinary time to see if your ideas have real legs. So test and see what has the real mooch. And by that, I mean the real attraction capacity. People are like, ooh, tell me more. Ooh, okay? Then dedicate time to work through the granular details, but work through them from your sensual nature, because it will connect you to the body that can respond more honestly. You ever heard the book, The Body Doesn't Lie? So crunch the numbers, but crunch them. You want to involve sensibility and sensuality. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Calculate the resources needed. There are so many of us soul, heart-based folks who don't look at the realities because they kind of freak us out. But this, there could be pleasure in this exercise for us. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, if you notice fear, take a deep breath. Because the moment, so I'm going to say this, and I've been articulating this more clearly of late, so I'm going to articulate it here. When fear starts, get its hands on the steering wheel, we are automatically dispossessed. Self-possession and sovereignty. Okay? That's not to say that the fact that we were built, designed, created to experience fear means that it's supposed to be there, but to be sovereign in its presence, to remain self-possessed in its presence so that we can touch into the wisdom that it affords us or is underneath it rather than have it run away with us. That's the thing. Communication savant. Map out the first few steps. We talked about steps just a little while ago, and then before, and then get started. Get started. Now think about the supermoon in Taurus. All right, just keep it in mind. That's why review is good. Next slide, please. Look at this. Again, looking glass, if you know, you know. This is going to be an intense experimental and mysteriousness in this lovely moon with hyper-amped magnetism to boot. So we've got the attractive nature when Venus is working in conjunction with the moon, Taurus. And then over here in Scorpio, we got a different kind. Okay? Now I'm going to say this for those of us who were either born identifying naturally, like we are female, or those who know that their gender is female, even though they didn't come with the parts. We have particularly with magnetism, because we live in a world where people being uncontrollably attracted to us scares the willies out of us, and often for good damn reason. And so I just want y'all to know that if there's any of that in your history, take good care of your heart, because this will be intense. This will also give a look to our erotic side, in case that's good to know. And so if you have with your own eroticism, then yeah, good to know. Those of you for whom eroticism is part of your purposeful wheelhouse, hello, honey. Don't be surprised if you or others' trust buttons are super, super sensitive. The 11th, the 12th, the 13th, check the dateline where you happen to reside. Especially if your conditionings had you negate a red flag or 5. And I'm just gonna say, we live in a world that drills into us, ignore red flags. Explain them, justify them, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about 5 alarm red flags, I'm talking about the basic ones. Jealousy and possessiveness are also likely to be pretty flary. If that happens for you or for someone you're working with, press pause and listen to what's at the root for wise inner intelligence. Being in the body, and remember, there's all kinds of support for being in our bodies. This month in particular is not what we tend to do when stuff like this percolates. So practices that help you come back to the body, remain in the body to whatever degree is right for you, okay? And I mean that most sincerely, will be helpful here. All right? And again, don't try and power your way through this. Power, Scorpio. If you try and manhandle yourself, metaphorically, it'll make it worse. It's supposed to. Hidden blessings. Okay? Next slide, please. It's a stellar day for exploring power and boundaries, yours and others. And I'm going to say as much your inner boundaries as the outer boundaries. And for better understanding what boundaries actually are. And I'm going to say her again, Randi, R-A-N-D-I, Buckley, B-U-C-K-L-E-Y, best teacher I know of when it comes to boundaries. Number 1, financial yamana could flow your way in the form of royalties, inheritances, investments in your work, okay? Or investments in general, pay back for investments. Make sure you know the tax implications. Don't just go, yay, and just, alrighty? And then the second, possession and obsessiveness, obsession and obsessiveness tend to amplify during this kind of moon. Wise to keep in mind, alrighty? Now, there's deeper story to that. So if you haven't got, if you're a member of the current, you haven't got Live with Lisa already in your calendar for next Friday, please put it in, because we're going to look at this. It matters. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. May 17th. Our benevolent rebel, Uranus, goes Cazimi. And just in case you're like, Cazimi, what's that? Because we've talked about it before, but it's been a while. That is when one of our planets is partnered, like sitting next, like arm in arm with the sun. Our force of nature lends all its creative wow to a planet. And in this case, it's Uranus. Okay, so Cazimi is a big deal. We've had lots of big deals so far. Necessary change is the thing with this. necessary change. Now, this doesn't get to decide what's necessary. And that's Uranus, benevolent rebellion against that which is holding us in a status quo we may not even realize is. Got it? So expect possibly a whopping urge and the confidence needed to shake up any stale or stagnant areas of your life, especially those you've been putting off. Not that you'd necessarily know that, okay? Because again, this is, in many ways, this is strategic in that it takes for granted that our own status quos are just so much a part of the waters we've been swimming in, we don't even know it's not the thing, okay? We don't even know it's status quo. And yeah. Take her easy though. Given the out of the box, out of the blue, plot twisty nature of our Uranus, something unexpected could pop up. All right? Now this is a 24-hour period. Again, those of us who are deeply sensitive could feel this moving up to it and for a couple days after. Just keep that in mind. And watch again, because the thematically, we're still talking about that gorgeous moon, okay, in Taurus. All righty? Don't go at this. It will come for you. And I don't mean that in a way, but yeah. P.S. Don't let your mouth write a check you're happy honey can't cash. Like, seriously, don't promise anything, especially this day. In fact, the day before, the day of, and the day after, kind of like with a moon, a lunation, because the proclivity, the energy of this is just big, and we could extend, offer, promise in an exaggerated way and then find we can't deliver. Okay? Which is one of the reasons why I say just a little minute ago, take her easy, because you could do the same with yourself and you'll want to watch that. Okay? I've got two great big stars in my calendar for this one, because yeah, especially those of us who are deeply generous and deeply caring, like helpers, you want to make sure you remind yourself of this, because, alrighty, we're learning to be capable of governance of energy, self-possession, sovereignty. Okay, to be creatively with and not overrun by. Elevation. Next slide, please. May 20th till June 20th, our force of nature, the sun, shifts into Gemini. Happy birthday, Gemini. Now, this one's really interesting. And part of the reason why May and into June, kind of big. Journalistic curiosity, high, 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 high. Demanding to be unleashed. Our curiosity and our need to know the actual story, not the ones made up, but the actual story, of the charts. It'll make us want and even need to interact more, to be social. For those of us who are in this community, we're not talking about surface conversation, cocktail party conversation, although our need to be in conversation might pull us into that because we need it. But it will want any kind of socializing and conversation to help us access or understand or get the real details, the facts. Okay, which is a bit of a tricky word these days, but you know what I mean. It is a stellar time for community building and nurturing. Kindred spirits are going to want to gather, connect, and converse in ways that speak to their curiosity. And expect people, just expect it, to be more nosy and ask lots of questions in the name of getting to the bottom of things. So you and I are likely to experience this. And if you're a coach or a therapist, or, I mean, curiosity is part of it. And I just want to say, all right, Jupiter, our fortune finder, has some significant sway in here. And if you want to lean into your curiosity, into your nosiness, into your question asking. But ask open-ended questions, because walking alongside this is our fortune finder, and that is useful to know, okay? Do expect that other people are going to be getting all up in your biz. Take a deep breath. I am naturally designed to be highly private. I just am. A lot of folks in this community have some of that in their design. It's different for you, but it's there. And if you've experienced trauma, yeah, those two tend to interact a lot. This could be a little, all right? So keep that in mind. This is another one you really want to pay attention to. It could be an enormously advantageous time for you, because fortune finder, and it could stir a lot of stuff up that could be useful in terms of returning to your authentic curiosity, because that kind of gets manhandled out of us pretty early and often, and a deeper connection with our way forward fortune. Okay? If you are someone who has a call to journalism, and that's a word these days, this is a major deal, especially while we've got some of the other stuff we've been talking about working away in the background at the same time. Alrighty? You'll see more when we get to the favorite fields. Next slide, please. May 24th till September 1st. Sorry, there's noise in the background. I hope that's not too disturbing. Look at this. Looky, looky, looky. This is another reason why May is in a league of its own. Our inner guru, Saturn, previews in Aries. Okay, so Neptune started its preview in Aries, shifting out of Pisces into the very first degree of Aries, which is a big deal. And now his cruising and creative partner, Saturn, shifts so that he's alongside him in the first degree of Aries. Notice the looking glass. If you know, you know. This kicks off a second whole new zodiacal cycle, the first since 1998, which will call you and us to lay the foundations for future achievements. What? Okay. Supply a powerful blend of stick-to-itive, discipline, and drive. Now, I'm going to say this. We were talking about productivity, okay, and receptivity, right? So this is our first opportunity to kind of go, so how does this actually work? Because Saturn here, our inner guru here, means serious business. This is the archetype that helps us actually create in the manifest world. And stick with it, because it's not a poof. It's, and how do we be that? How do we reside in that? How do we function and live from that? And, right? Whoa. This will also have us take responsibility for our potential, our approach, because boy, does that matter these days, and our behavior. Approach matters as much, if not more, than taking action, because Aries is about action. It really is. It's about action coming from instinct and deep, deep, deep rooted purposeful desire. But then it says, okay, so as you're acting, what's your approach? How do you come at that? And by that, I mean, there's pound, make it give, bang. Or there is a slight pause and a deeper connection to the instinct that informs approach. That is yours. And again, that the world at large has done its damnedest to stamp out. Just saying. That word, that phrase, your approach, is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger these next few years. We're going to be talking about it a lot. It will push bold action, but it will ask us to keep a steady eye on long-term aims and goals. Because it's the combo of take action with the understanding that no poof, okay? And it's wise action. Remember, this is our inner guru. This is, let's build wisely. Okay, so what goes into that? This is really, really, really interesting opportunity to deepen your capacity to reside in sovereign action, inspired action, wise building from the beginning of a brand new cycle. Partnered with our dreamkeeper Neptune in the same first degree, which brings the vision and the dream. And if we're coming from propensity, illusion, fantasy. So we have to occupy this. Deepen your capacity to occupy, to be in this. Hello. It will also urge many of us to step up as a leader, but your way of leadership. And if that word leadership gives you the willies or has you go, no, I don't think so. Just know many wedding will be called. And what does leadership mean? What does it actually look like? What we're seeing in the headlines? What we saw before those headlines started kicking in? Not that either. Okay? Pay close attention to resistance to a call to lead. Pay very close attention because this steps out. It is a preview. It'll give you a snapshot over the course of June, July, August. Okay, June, July, August, plus a week or two. So that you can see where and how your life goes, or gimme. Okay? Because what we're looking for is your blend of something in the middle, not occupying the extreme ends. Elevation, my friends. Now, this guy, our inner guru Saturn, he is not at home, easily at home in Aries. So this will not be a cakewalk. And I don't say that to frighten, but to prepare. Okay? And if you start to feel frightened, again, what in you has its hands on the wheel of your life? Fear or you and the divine partnered. Okay? Next slide, please. Struggle is very likely, bringing with it an excellent set of witnessing opportunities. Think about it as the butterfly wriggling free over time, and I mean wriggling, out of the cocoon because it doesn't need to be there anymore. Which, when you're living the struggle, might be hard to remember. Alrighty? And to hold that understanding for and with your clients, your groups, whatever, your community. Now, here's the other one. Success is also likely, provided you're willing to channel passion and purpose into productive effort over time. Again, over time, note. And Aries coming from propensity wants now. So know that. That will be part of the self-governance practice. Now, this short but wildly impactful cycle picks up again February 13th, 2026, and then lasts till April 12th, 2028. So this preview could be enormously helpful. And I want to encourage you to pay close attention to the way your life starts to respond to this. So remember at the top, I said, please, please, please pay attention and do the reviews. This is one of the reasons why. We've got previews going on. We've got the first Pluto in Aquarius retrograde going on. Okay. The big social planets, remember we talked about them? They're moving. Okay. This is number 3. We got a little bit more to come, but this is number 3. Holy moly. Keeping that fresh, reminding yourself, repetition is going to be increasingly important. Refreshing your memory, increasingly important. Now, I know there's a lot going on. And I know many of us are tired already. I get that. And what can you do to give yourself the rest you need? And I don't just mean sleep, so that you can continue to bring yourself back into the frame that will support you and us as we work with this. All of this. Alrighty? This is our time. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, our communication savant, Mercury, moving into Gemini, May 25th till June 8th. Oh, if you work with language, helping people with messaging of any and all kinds, particularly spoken, super, super, super support for all forms of articulation. And I mean this most sincerely. Wordplay is cosmic foreplay. Okay? It's an exceptional time to work on your book or memoir, record a podcast, build your social media following using lives, spoken word. Wow. It's also a really peak time for attracting fascinating people with synergies by allowing your words and phrases to be a titch more true to you, colorful. Okay? Because that's Gemini. It is a stellar time to launch a podcast, launch a vlog, a spoken word fest. You get the gist. Now, one caveat, it's not here in the notes, but I'm just going to say it out loud. Fast and furious ideas, fast and like, and we may have to work extra to land on core themes, because we could do there will be, for those who are who lack self-possession and sovereignty and the ability to govern and be clear about, because we could say a lot, because that's Gemini, but what needs to be said? What are the core themes? What is the theme of your podcast or your book or you get my drift? So please know that partnering with someone or with a handful of someones who can hear the themes for you, so that you can just go blah, 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 and they can help you find the center, that will be a big deal. Ready? Ooh. Ooh. Okay. And I'm just going to say this. This is one of my specialties. Many here are conversational processors. We don't understand what's moving through us until we say it out loud. With this, we could just go, and it will take someone who can hear you for you, not from their own agenda, but from the soulful or intuitive recognition of core to you themes to help you hear yourself, so that working on your book, your memoir, your podcast, your social media, like all of that isn't just, scattershot. Okay, could be important and part of my specialty. Okay, next slide, please. Look at this. Now, we just talked about Gemini. Kindred spirits unite, cooperative, communicative vibes, so much in the air. All right. So can you say more? Synergies spark aplenty between friends old and new. And it's kind of got a 1 + 1 = 3 vibe. Seriously. More will naturally occur because. But this is also a time when just kind of swimming around in your own ideas in isolation ain't going to do it. It is in cooperative, collaborative communication, and it will mostly be spoken. Okay? Yeah. For those of you who sometimes find it difficult to say, to get it out, this wants to give you a gorgeous lift up. And I mean that most sincerely. It wants us to say what needs to be said, to hear what we know that we didn't necessarily know we knew. It also means the collaborative interaction and synergy between the ideas that come out of our mouth, so that we're going, wow, these things interact and connect and make more of each other, so that the themes alive in your work or alive in your life show themselves to you. What? Our Dreamkeeper Neptune and our inner guru Saturn, both working, remember we just talked about this 1st degree Aries, partner with this moon to offer big guidance towards collaborators or collaborations with a sweet and rare mix of vision and stability that you will find it very difficult to access unless you be talking with other people. 1 + 1 = 3. Plus another tag team of our transformer, Pluto, just freshly in retrograde, and our communication Sabbath, who we just talked about in Gemini, ups your ability to magnetize the folks and situations to you you need for that sweet, rare mix of, okay? Like, this is yamana, yamana, yamana. Now, let's not think about this like we just covered it in isolation, because that makes it helpful to observe, to witness, to kind of go into the deets. But think about this as all the other stuff we've been talking about is working away. This is not in isolation. None of it is. Big. And built for folks like you and I. For all of us, but for you and me? Oh. Okay. And if communication is your purposeful work, good Lord, make sure people see you. Now remember, day before, day of, day after, most potent. The vibes are still pretty alive for 2 weeks, and then it's a 6-month cycle. Okay? So just keep that timing in mind. If you are a current member and you are working with the Moon Course practices, pay close attention. Alrighty? Next slide, please. How are we doing for time? May 30th. Cazimi again, this time with Mercury, our communication Savant. Trust your instincts. Speak your truth. No room for hesitation today. So if you kind of, don't be surprised if you get a nudge and something just goes, bleh. Both confidence and charisma are boosted with this. And it's the communication that is charismatic. Keep that in mind. It is what's being communicated that has the charisma. Okay? Words are going to carry extra weight today. And it's more than likely others will take serious notice. So if you wanted to do, I don't know, a webinar, a taste test, boom. Okay. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, now that's not to say that all the big themes we've got going on that, you know, are active for extended periods don't mean we don't have any creative tension. We do, but there are no single days that are like, wow, not a zero zilch. Erica loves creating this. Next slide, please. Opportune days. And that one with ×2, particularly important. We'll get to that in a minute. Next slide, please. So May the 2nd, it's a shoot your shot kind of a day. No authentic vision is too idealistic. Now remember, we've got support for sensibility and manifesting, and okay, so keep that in mind. And looking glass, if you know, you know. May 18th, it's a word is your bond kind of day. So be sure you're ready to back up any claims with the goods. Now, asterisk, 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 what does that mean? For folks like us, you know, if you're creating and bringing forward a body of work that does not hinge on an academic education and letters at the end of your name, or, and not to dismiss the usefulness of that in any way, shape, or form, or there's been no statistical studies. It means that you have to find a way to create proof. Not from, I got to prove myself to you, but just this actually works, folks. I'm not making shit up. Okay? So keep that in mind. This day is also a really useful day for having insight about how to go about creating that kind of, and coming from a place inside yourself that isn't about proving anything to anybody, but just providing, okay, here's why I claim this. Don't just listen to me, right? Everyone's going to be more prone. You know where we're going with this. So keep that in mind, because there's also in the background working with this, a kind of no nonsenseness. Again, propensity versus elevation. And we'll all of us with this big energy, propensity will be active. Next slide, please. May 22nd, there's a fire triangle. What does that mean? We have one of these, you know, gorgeous triangles, and each apex of the triangle is working a fire sign. Okay, so all 3 fire signs are working. That brings some major energy. I'm not going to get into it. If you're curious, go do a Google. It will practically demand that we steer as far away from the usual and go adventuring, from enjoyment, willingness. Okay, so you know you want it, because that spirit of, woo, let's go, will be there. If you find yourself resistant or reactive to that, pay close attention. Okay, major planets, 1st degree Aries, new zodiacal cycles, it could matter paying attention, because that will tell you things. Or if you're working with clients and they have some of that, okay, the day's energy will be begging to be harnessed in service to all kinds of new creative projects. So be sure to get brainstormy and jammy together, because that articulation, communication, more 1 + 1 = 3 kind of thing. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, remember we talked about something that kicked off on the 24th of May? I'm going to leave you to review your notes, to tether yourself or root yourself back into what I'm talking about, okay? But in addition to that happening, these two things happen too. So there's particular power on this day. You ready? So the second shift move that happens, authentic to you mystique, is super magnetic on this day, making it a stellar time for all marketing activity. Howza. Okay? Any and all. The trick with that is being in your own mystique, and everybody's got some. Depends on where it is and how the bit. So, alrighty. And then the third one that kicks in this day, if you're willing to think way out of the box and keep inner growth key, this could be a big work, communication, or finance breakthrough day. Okay. Now think about that connected to the first one, authentic to you mystique, marketing. Coincidence? I'll leave that to you. Next slide, please. The 27th of May. Notice all of these have the little looking glass again. You know what you know. Stay sharp or on your toes communication kind of a day. Excellent for taste test webinars and the like. Notice the PS. A touch of benevolent mystery. And I combined those two words for a reason. A lot of people think mystique is kind of like playing games with people's heads. That it can be lived that way, propensity, but we're talking about this. Think about almost every, in fact, I think every trailer for a film or a series, they don't tell you the whole story. They're leaning into this. Now, sometimes that can be, manipulated. See, because that's why we think mystique, manipulate. If you reside in it benevolently, so that people, their curiosity is roused. Authentic curiosity, authentic benevolent mystery. Oh my goodness. All right? No joke. And a big damn deal these days. Saying. For folks like us, big deal. And not just for us and in our work, but for the whole. Next slide, please. Neutral days. Next slide, please. May the 12th. It is a big, fat, wise to keep your big ideas to yourself kind of day. And I mean that most sincerely. Especially if they're cutting edge, if you're close to exposing them for the first time, sharing them with a wider audience, or even, a handful of people, just the 12th, because propensity, just cuz. Now, here's the thing. If you have a solid, trustworthy, working relationship with a brain trust, okay, that jammy kind of vibe is also here. There just needs to be really solid agreement and ability to be self-governing. And I mean that most sincerely. So you're in the presence of someone who can listen for you and with you and help you find the additional nuances or layers or importance of some of your ideas. And they're listening for you. They're listening for the ideas themselves and how they may be impactful. At the same time, they may become conscious and aware when their own envy, ooh, I like that idea, well, I'm just going to leave that there. It doesn't belong to me. Okay. Same. Next slide, please. Favorite fields. We got a lot of them. Okay. Next slide. I am not going to go over all of these. You might want to take a screenshot or refer to the notes PDF that will be published, if not later today, tomorrow. Okay. And remember too that there's often overlap between fields. So you may be working with boundaries and sovereignty. Again, hello, Randy Buckley. And you may be working with eroticism and sexual healing work. You get what I'm saying? So if a field or two it kind of is your wheelhouse, extra oomph. Again, please check Live for 2025's Favored Fields PDF, because there's stuff in there that will be still alive because background. Okay. And you might want to touch in with that and just refresh yourself. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide for June. My God, we're almost halfway through the year. Can you believe that? 2025 is Thursday, May the 29th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Check for your own time zone. Alrighty. And the emails that come to invite and remind you will have a link to how you can check your time zone. But if you want to put it in your calendar now, so you reserve the time, which I highly encourage, you might just want to go do a time zone conversion check right now or soon. Okay. All right. We are 12 minutes past the top of the hour. I want to check in. Which of May's influences are calling you? Which ones are going zzz? And do you have any questions? Anything that you want to review or share? Now's the time. If you got to go because you got people to serve and et cetera, I understand. And if you can hang out with me for another few minutes, it may be worth your while. So who's got questions? Who's got shares? Who's got ahas? I want to hear you.
Hey, Lisa, it's Peggy.
Hey.
Hi. Hey, my like, I just went lit up when you talked about journalism, and there's something about the way you hold it that's different than what I thought about it. Can you say more about, like, more context around journalism? That it feels like curiosity, documenting. It's like almost a little bit of Sherlock Holmes with a little bit of Rachel Maddow with a little bit of Lisa Bowles.
Thank you, my friend. That's very lovely. So most of us know that journalism has been and continues to be in flux. I mean, the state of journalism has been, it's a big, and so some of that is in the mix here. What is journalism? What has it been? What do we need it to be now? And to live inside curiosity and come from a journalistic orientation. Now, there are a lot of journalists who they lean in particular political directions. And what journalism, the spirit of journalism as carried and, vibed out this way is true. It is closer to and calls us closer to the true spirit of journalism. Not that it's leaning any particular way, but because it sees what's actually there or is committed to doing the work of revealing what's really there. It will have us do that in our own lives as much as anywhere else. So, what's the real skinny here? Do I even know? And because curiosity, and because this partners with our Fortune Finder, it wants to take us on a journey that helps us walk our way into the real story without making up story or helping us see where we've been coming from conclusion, we didn't know, assumption, we didn't know, preconceived ideas, we didn't know were there, so that we can get to the real skinny about our, now here's one of the reasons why that really matters and has me very, very excited. When we live in culture, and in particular, the more control and domination and conformity is throbbing around inside that culture, whether it's to overt degrees or very, very subtle degrees, and just saying this transformation cycle, because that's about power, you know. Where has your personal story been decided by
Ooh,
forces outside of yourself?
ooh.
Do you even know what your true narrative is? What's the real skinny? And how much of your mind has been manhandled so profoundly, you don't even know you're doing the culture's work on yourself. This could be an extraordinary liberatory time. Now, think about that in the larger context, everywhere. Think about that with Black Moon Lilith working through Scorpio. Think about that within the larger context of Pluto working through Aquarius. That it isn't just my story, it's our story, the narrative.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
It's very big.
Yes, and take a deep breath. Remember we talked about the Taurus moon? Go down into the cradle. Go down in. Root yourself, okay? Root yourself. You don't have to keep your eye, like I'm giving you the bigger story of that because it excited you. But I want you to know you don't have to strategically kind of, so I must deepen your rootedness.
Okay.
Follow your own sensuality and intuition in the body and feel it. Because remember, the body doesn't lie.
I was blown away. I was blown away by the hip Venus.
Yeah.
With what I've been experiencing with my hip, it was like, wow, this is great.
I was thinking about you while we were preparing this, Peggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this very personal, discovery of your true story inside the context, kind of when you deep rooted in, but inside the context of the collective, especially when you have the Black Lilith there, it's yeah. And also to me, the commitment to follow it through your biases,
right?
Just to know that, oh, okay, I'm oh, there it is again, or to get to the real thing is really exciting.
Well, and it is to remain gently aware and present to the very real likelihood that real is up for grabs.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thanks.
So glad you're here, Peggy. Thank you for bringing that. And pay close attention to this as you get closer. And Live with Lisa next Friday.
Yes. Thanks.
You're welcome. Who else is kind of like or a little overloaded? Wondering. Dumbstruck. I want to hear you. Come on, talk to me. If you're talking, I can't hear you because your microphone is turned off. Karen, you made it. Hey, I'm glad you're here.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
I guess what strikes me is that I have a lot of fire in my chart. And I'm just feeling like, I do think I'm feeling the Aries coming. And
yes, ma'am.
And it's super intense.
Yes, ma'am.
and I'm already fiery.
Yep.
But I also was thinking as you were talking that all my fires in the 4th house and in my chart, Aries would be, it's kind of in the end of the 11th moving into the 12th. So there's this collaboration from the 11th moving into this mysterious 12th.
Yep.
So I'm just in this sort of state of trying to figure out what that all means to me. But I think it's about quieting myself and staying steady, but taking action and
Right.
collaborating with others, even if it feels a little iffy
Right.
for me.
So one of the other things, because I have a lot of fire in my map too. So in case this is useful, depending on what type of fire it is, because sign matters, house matters, and you talked about that. The one of the things that's common with fire, and we're talking particularly with Aries, but it will go through the other fire signs too. Shifts in identity. Shifts in like massive. And given for you, it's in fourth house. It's like identity as was and may still be, and not necessarily inappropriately, but take all the other potential influences in mind, rooted in home and family. Okay. And what that means, what it doesn't mean, whether it's yours or whether it's do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other thing about fire is, in one way or another, fire signs, and again, it depends on which one we're working.
I have Leo. 4 planets in Leo.
Okay. So, and this doesn't get talked about much. We're here, Leo fire is about, it's not the beginning of things, although we do initiate, and it's not about the completion of things, although we do that. It's about the creating of stability. It's about, so what happens after we initiate? And Leo comes in, how do I use creative energy and expression create stability? How do I do that? Now that sounds very earthy, and it's not. It's just that each one has a different nature, modality, and the middle of the fire signs is like, so I'm supposed to take that and, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And because Aries energy is the identity, that's why you were saying shifts in identity, because we're moving.
Shifts in identity. Yep.
Because it's the beginning also. Was,
yes, exactly. It's it's a kind of restart. Yes. And with the trick with fire, particularly Leonine fire, is that we can get frustrated by process. We just want shit to happen like now. And we're often learning how to govern that creative expression energy. Does that make sense?
Yes, because I'm very impatient.
Fire is in general, but oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I think that gives me some things to think about, to work with.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope to hear you next week. Anybody else? A question, wondering? Isabel, I just saw you here. Hi. Anybody else got a wondering, a question, like a massive aha? Are you tingling? Are you just kind of like, where you at? I want to know. Tell me.
Hi, Lisa, it's Sylvia.
Hey, you.
Whoa, this thing, I'm
Uh-huh.
in the fire lane. You know, I have double triumphs in fire, and
Yeah.
and I just I could barely take in the words because all I could feel was the energy. This is just really potent stuff.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Anybody else have any of that going on? It's a lot. That's why practicing more deeply, especially in company, matters. If we get knocked off because we can't be with, and we're the ones people come to, oopsie. Carry on, Sylvia. Want to hear some more?
Well, what's interesting is I didn't feel knocked off. I just felt I don't know, I guess as I'm trying to put it into words, it was kind of like I was just kind of in my element. I just went right into the fire. Into this whole creative fire. I just and I was, I could hear you and I was taking in some of it, but I was in these two places at the same time.
Yep.
And what was happening.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And I could just feel wasn't that the energy felt overwhelming, but rather it was voluminous, when it was just
Oh,
on me, wrapped around me, like
yep.
some ways kind of supporting me, but
Yes.
wasn't even taking a particular specific orientation other than just this beingness of fire, of energy.
Yep. Yep. Karen, I hope you're listening because this could be speaking to you too. One of the things that's common amongst many of us when there's this kind of fire, either in your soul map, your chart, or moving around, because we got lots, is we're afraid of fire. And as women, we've been taught to be afraid of our fire. So, because it can be incendiary and inflammatory and all those other really yummy things, but it can also be what Sylvia's talking about. And the more you can help yourself trust and partner with your fire. And Sylvia, as I listen to you, I would suspect that you've worked with your fire a lot. Would that be fair?
Well, I think because I was born with double triumphs in fire, I probably did, whether I knew it or not.
Well, and if you've got double fire trines, then you've got giftedness that's natural to you. You don't really have to work at. So that'll be there too.
But it's interesting that this fire energy really feels very creative. And I'm assuming that's because of these other, of the other major players, Neptune and Saturn. And it's sort of like it's like a posse of creativity.
Absolutely. Well, when we talked ages ago about Pluto shifting into Aquarius, again, that's the big oversight of all of this. And there's more oversight I'm going to be talking about in the days to come because, wow. This is a cultural time of cultural transformation, and that's inherently creative. You add fire into that, and especially with both of them working at the very beginning, 2 new zodiacal cycles, the vision, the dream, and to actually build new stuff. Oh my gosh. Hello. While we ask questions about that we've never necessarily needed to or had the opportunity or this kind of support, what is power? How? And how do I extricate myself from the of conditioning? Yeah. So I'm thrilled to hear this, Sylvia. Thank you.
Well, and as you talk, Lisa, what I'm realizing is this element of fire is transmutative.
Say that again.
This element of fire is transmutative.
Yes, my friend.
Literally, this is how the phoenix rises out of.
Right.
Not burned to a crisp, but reimagined, rebirthed,
yes.
Re-empowered, really.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I talked about quote unquote struggle. Like this piece of it ain't gonna be cakewalk because we're trying to wriggle free of a cocoon that has been responsible for incubating us, but is no longer needed. How do we build the muscle, metaphorically speaking, through practice and action that helps us transmute and occupy, quote unquote, struggle in a way that helps us work with the hidden blessings inside them? The calls, and that's why I'm saying, remind yourself, put yourself in the company of people who remind yourself so that we can. And so that someone in company with us can bring to us, because we will not be able to do this in isolation. that was the way when everything was working for Pisces. It's not now. That we say to ourselves, I am really not here to do this alone. I can't. I am one cell of the larger body, and I am reliant on your voice, your recognition, your insight, your listening for us. And that's a beautiful example, Sylvia. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure. So glad you're here. Okay, time-wise, it's 2:30 Eastern time. Erica, how are you? We give this 5 more minutes. Are you gonna be okay with that?
Yeah, I just have a jackhammer outside, so.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything else they want to offer, share? Kalita, is that you saying no?
It is.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
I'm gonna just put a little prayer out that this can come together and make sense because my body is so tired. I'm so, it's a deep tired. It doesn't make sense with anything that I'm tracking on externally what's been happening. You know, I'm just so tired. And what I'm wondering, I'm trying to pull the threads together. One, I'm forgetting exactly what I think it was when you were speaking about one period of time. It wasn't just a day, it was a period of time where coming up soon where we're wanting to track what's like measure things. Yes, it was using measuring and making sure that keeping the sensual and the sensible together, but making things, in my language, moving for inspiration, but making sure that this is actually something that stands a chance that I'm creating as an offering. Because on the practical level, on the inspirational level, and on the growing of my own sovereignty and deepening into it, that has been so strongly at play over the last 12 to 18 months. And I have a sense it will just keep continuing. But the outer, like my offerings, not landing or the marketing or I have lost a bit of my trusting of my, at the same time, I trust my intuition more and I trust it less. This is what, in the most important, deepest way, I trust it more. But on the, I feel a yes around something and I put it out how I used to put it out. On the practical level, things aren't working. They're just not. And so it makes me doubt, not in a profound way, but it makes me practically doubt my intuition and my yes. Like,
So two thoughts.
okay.
One, I would ordinarily I'd say lean in, but I want to say, so in my mind, I'm visualizing you kind of going back into the waters and letting the waters carry you.
Okay.
Okay. With the upcoming moon.
Oh, with the upcoming moon, which is so interesting because on this upcoming moon, the 27th, you mean, right? That's a day that I'm doing a class through Bay Area Dance Week, which means it's a free class.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a point of contact where these new people coming for the free class could join me in a tangible offering, but it's a big jump from a free class to a whole retreat experience. Do you know what I mean? So generally, there aren't many yeses there.
Right.
In the room, but I need to relax into the water of it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I can hear Erica chomping at the bit in the background.
Oh,
Make the jump less big. Consider making the jump less big. So this kind of goes to your fatigue.
what word was that?
You're tired.
I am tired. Yeah.
Yep. And so I want to just put in the space as possibility that you and the offer of,
Mm-hmm.
and, asking too much, that you've been efforting too much. Does that make sense? Erica just put something
Uh-huh.
into the chat.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but energetically, you know, what we tend to do is overcompensate and over put so much energy into things, we drain the living daylights out of ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I'm financially committed
I-
to the
I
thing
get
would, do you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, part of me just wants to, not out of overgiving, just saying, you know, I already planned on giving a big discount. I always do on that day. But my inclination is to, you know, work with people even more if they want, because
I know.
that's what I have right now. That's what I have to offer, and I'm invested in, you know,
I get that. I get that. And hear all the.
for sure. For
Okay,
sure.
so that moon will support you in letting yourself be carried
Uh-huh.
and relaxing more and refreshing yourself.
That will be my focus then.
Okay,
That will
that's
be
what,
my focus. Yeah.
particularly given it's a day. I mean, come on. Okay. Now,
Okay.
one other little bit. You can speak to that in the room with the people that are there with you about their own journey. Yeah.
Oh, you mean that they may have a mirrored journey to mine now? You mean, yeah.
They may have. How about they do?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And do me a favor, send me a quick email today and I'll send you
Okay.
something. Okay.
Okay.
That
Okay.
might be helpful. Maybe not in the most right now way, but
Okay.
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 Send it to, just tell me the email so I do the right one.
Thesoulmap.com. Mine.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
2
Okay.
S's in Lisa, or it won't reach me.
Okay.
Okay.
It will reach you because I have a forward on regular spelling.
Okay. Okay.
Erica, my genius in-house. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Okay.
Adele has her hand up, by the way.
I see that. Thank you so much, Erica.
Yep.
Hi, Adele.
Hi, Lisa. I just wanted to share something. I mean, I guess it's a share and a question, but I had a really powerful experience literally at like 2 a.m. Tuesday night of clarity coming in of my model that I feel like I have been birthing since 2011. And I just wanted to share that in that moment, I had a memory of a conversation with you years ago.
Yeah, that's a while back now.
I know this was like, I think I was first working with you in 2013,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
2012 or 20. And it was a course on the cycle and the 4 stages of the cycle. And I remember you lovingly telling me that I was basically not quite far along as I thought, and actually very early, very fresh in that stage too.
Yep.
And I just wanted to, I wanted to share that to affirm your wisdom.
Okay.
And
Bless you, woman.
because it's, you know, those situations were not easy to hear. And I know it was in a conversation with you. I made a declaration, and the group that I was part of under your leadership at the time, to start a media company, which I had no idea what that meant. And quite honestly, I still don't, but, I just want to thank you because you really held the space for me but the thing that was important is that the energy moved. Right. That I made a declaration and it caused me to take risks and take risks. And here I am 12 years later in a completely, like, I live in Laguna Beach, California now. I'm no longer married or partnered at all. I'm sovereignly, delightfully single.
Right.
And my son lives with me, which was a major
You know?
coup that not many people thought was possible.
No, including you from time to time.
Yes.
Understand?
Thank you. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you
You're welcome.
for just standing in your truth and how that is an inspiration for us to do the same. Because I know now that's my role as well, right? To just continue to emulate that and follow my weird and be my weird.
Be your
embody
weird,
my
babe.
weird.
We need your weird. I want to suggest you and follow your own gut, okay? But I
Uh-huh.
want to suggest you pay particular attention to the shift of Saturn, our inner guru, into Aries
Okay.
for
I
you.
took copious notes today. I put now, as I listen to your calls now, I just pop up my Outlook calendar and I immediately just take notes on the dates. So it's in there.
Good. I'm glad. That is going to be super, super helpful. A lot of people don't. And there's things that are shifting. I remember, God bless him. For those of you who are newer, my late husband, Randy, who passed in 2014, he used to come to me and say, "It's a day. What the hell is moving around up there?" and we'd go check, and then we'd look at it relative to his map. And he'd go, "Okay, I have a better understanding of what I'm urging myself to live now." And I say that intentionally because he had a gorgeous way with words. When we're with something, especially these days, oh my God, we're trying to urge ourselves into living something. And if you can hold that understanding, hidden blessings, if you can hold that, 12 years ago, if you can hold that, it can change your approach. It can help you soften into your own authentic way. And it can help you keep the story, the focus of the story on what is true and not what is coming from here. So bless you. Thank you so much for sharing, Adele. It's good to have you here.
Thank you, Lisa. And I feel like really quickly I interrupted you as you were sharing, pay close attention to Saturn. Is there anything that was coming through you to say specifically?
Steadiness.
Steadiness as Saturn's in Aries.
Yeah. Well, pay attention to the whole of it, but first, it's the kickoff of something. And it's the kickoff with the steady building. So it was just a gut feel, given what I know about your map and you, to pay close attention. Listen deeply for Saturn talking to you. Okay?
Listen deeply for Saturn. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. 3 more minutes. Anybody got something they want to share? Ask Marilyn.
Yes, honey.
Oh.
So you know me in words, and I'm kind of with gosh, names too. The person, 2 people before, 3 oh shoot, who has the cards and the travel, and I cannot, her name has gone out of my head.
Sylvia.
Sylvia, thank you. I was thinking of a K word, but I couldn't. So I think I'm feeling some of what she's been feeling about some part, although she had more words than I do. Just in terms of, and I think it might be to do with what you just said now, of the steady and slow, but because I know there's changes, lots of changes happening in and for me related to power particularly, and my expression of my voice and all of that in my particular way, and which is very different from I think most people's experience or expression of power. So I'm just appreciative of that, and I will go back and listen, because I know there was a part where you were speaking where I could just feel the energy just moving, and not like clarity as in do this 10-step plan, but in what I do know is that when something is unclear or things are a little foggy, to be in movement, like take the next step that I know.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
And that's clear.
Right. Good.
So I'm just appreciative of, and I will look forward to next Friday also.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
can you remind me of this share? Because you just brought something up that I want to make sure we talk about during live. Okay,
If I remember,
If
and
you
others might remember better than me.
I'll make a note too. Between the
Okay.
two of us.
I'm not at a note place. I'm standing in the middle of my kitchen, surrounded by.
Great,
So
great. Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if anybody else here is a member of the current and you can take a note and want to contribute to giving me
To our shared
to
memory.
talk about this, that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you. Yeah.
you.
Really
Good to hear
appreciate
you.
that.
Glad
Yeah.
you're home.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, friends, it is 2:45. I cannot tell you how vitally important it is now that we are working transformation through Aquarius, that we talk to each other, that we lean into collaborative exploration and the edges where we're being invited and called to live and to just, it's vitally important. We will not make the changes and the transmute, like we got to be in our practice, no two ways about it, but then we got to bring it into communal, collaborative, creative spaces so we can explore together, hear, feel together. Cannot even begin to tell you how incredibly important that is. So I am deeply grateful for your presence and your participation and for your contributions. It matters here and everywhere. Thank you. Thank you. We will be back here again for live for June. Okay, last Thursday of May. And if you have questions or anything that you want to talk about in the meantime, please go over to our larger community Facebook space. It's private, nobody else sees it but us. And if you're a member of the current, next Friday, I can't wait to hear you. And if you're curious about the current, please come join us. Erica, if you can pop the link into the chat real quick, we'll put it in the replay. Give it some serious thought. It's making a big difference for some folks. So my loves, please take yourself off mute and say goodbye as we go. Erica, I know you can't do that. That's all right. But please say goodbye. I'd love to hear you again. Take good care, my friend.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Till next
everyone.
time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Take good care.